All right, there's new rumors that Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back to the Halloween franchise again. All right, so these rumors that Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back to the Halloween franchise is, of course, coming from Cinestealth. And you got to take that with a grain of salt because, I mean, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. And I'm not really sure where their sources are coming from. But for argument's sake, let's just say that the rumors are true. Should JLC come back as Laurie Strode? I don't think so. I think it's time for Jamie Lee Curtis to move on from that character. I know she's the OG final girl. We all love Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode in Halloween. A lot of us have a hard time not seeing Jamie Lee Curtis playing Laurie Strode. However, we have a new TV series that's coming to Peacock. Who the hell knows when? We also have new movies being pitched, some of them even by Daniel Harris, and they're being pitched to Malek Akkad. And of course, Miramax having the rights to Halloween. So we know we're getting a new TV series. We're getting the Halloween films coming back. And I don't think that we need Jamie Lee Curtis to come back. I think it's time to move forward. You know, this is a chance for this franchise to be renewed in a really exciting way. And a lot like if you've seen some of my past videos where I talk about the Scream franchise, and I talked about how they didn't really need Nev Campbell to come back as Sidney Prescott. And I feel like part six proved that I was right. I mean, I felt like the characters of Sam and Tara gave us a new story arc. It made Scream exciting again. And I was looking forward to Halloween having that same excitement, just having a new life being brought back into it. And not only did Scream 6 prove that that could happen, but even previously in the Halloween franchise, I mean, you look at Halloween 4, we were able to do with Danielle Harris, and, you know, she became this beloved character in the Halloween franchise. We didn't need Jamie Lee Curtis to carry this thing. Of course, we all wanted her back, but it wasn't necessary. Let's just say that she does come back. What do they even do with the Laurie Strode character? Do they try to pick up after Halloween ends? And I would hope not, because we really got a definitive ending with the character of Michael Myers. And then Laurie Strode literally closed the chapter on her boogeyman. So I guess one possibility could be to retcon Halloween's 4 and 5, and we can go that route again and try to pick up kind of like what they did with H2O and Resurrection, how they picked up after Halloween 2. But that's been done so many times. It's really gotten boring. They beat it to death. I just don't see them going that route again. Now, they could just retcon part 5, and maybe we get a story arc that has Laurie Strode and Jamie Lloyd. Because if you remember in Halloween 4, Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't coming back, so they essentially killed off the character. I think they said she died in a car accident, whatever. You could bring her back and say she faked her death like she did with H2O, and then we could have that reunion between Jamie Lloyd and Laurie Strode. I guess that could be a cool way to do it, especially now that Jamie Lee Curtis and Daniel Harris have kind of fix their relationship. If you know that story about how Daniel Harris really wanted to meet Jamie Lee Curtis, and then Jamie Lee Curtis didn't even know she was. Well, Jamie Lee Curtis called her, and they kind of fixed that whole thing. And I guess they threw around some ideas for Halloween, and that would be really cool if that turned into something. But I don't know if I really care to see that, on the big screen or in the TV series at this point. Another possibility would be to, I guess, pick up maybe after H2O or after Resurrection, and maybe John Tate comes back and he's trying to seek revenge on Michael Myers, or even Michael Myers comes back and he's trying to get back to Laurie Strode, and he does it through John Tate, kind of make him more of a main character this time around. But again, another thing I don't think most fans really care to see, and we definitely don't want to see it pick up after Resurrection. So I feel like no matter what they do with Jamie Lee Curtis, it's kind of dried up already. The whole JLC playing Laurie Strode, I think it's run its course at this point. I'm more excited to see a brand new set of characters, whether that's in the TV series or in the films. Now, it's one thing to address Laurie Strode, especially if they don't bring Laurie Strode back, if they decide they're gonna pick up the franchise from another point in, like after Halloween 4, or after Resurrection, if they chose to do that, whatever the case may be, if they want to address Laurie Strode, then that might work. But I just think Jamie Lee Curtis coming back and playing Laurie Strode has just really run its course, and I don't think it's just going to work anymore. Now, with all of that said, I do think if they do decide to bring Jamie Lee Curtis back on screen, the best possible way to do that and not ruin any, potential storylines or new storylines would be to bring her back in a flashback, kind of like what they did with Billy Loomis in the new Scream movies, or how they made him a ghost, or if you want to address Halloween Kills, for example, how they had Dr. Loomis in the flashback. Like, if you want to bring her back in a whole different way where she's not really in the story, but they're just going to touch base on the character or address the character and show us these flashbacks, maybe to Halloween Ends or something like that, then maybe that will work. And I think I'd be okay if we got her in a flashback, and that might be the best way. I just don't see Jamie Lee Curtis coming back in an on-screen capacity, and I don't see it working out the way a lot of fans would hope it would, especially the ones who are really attached to that character and think that the franchise doesn't work without her. I think it absolutely does. If there are talks for Jamie Lee Curtis to come back to this franchise, then what if it's not in an on-screen capacity, but what if it's just as a producer or an executive producer or something in that fashion? Then I'd be totally on board at that point. I'd be okay with her having a huge involvement with the films or with the TV series, but staying off screen. She's more familiar with the franchise than anybody, so I think she would be perfect in those roles if she's a writer, or if she even gets into that type of thing. But maybe even in a writer role. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you want to see Jamie Lee Curtis come back as an on-screen character? And if so, what do you see that role becoming?